new things that they can do with technology. I understand that the Super Bowl, he's going to be the performer on the Super Bowl, and I guess somebody from the estate would have had to have approved that, you know, so.
You got to pay now, they're saying, to run your band for the halftime thing. They're charging artists now. So if you're right, then the estate would have to flip the bill for that.
Oh, wow. I don't know. I don't know how that turns out. I just wouldn't want anything to you know, affect the grieving process of the children. And if it does them good, then I say by all means do it. But if not, then I would say you stay away from it.
Absolutely. Everything needs to be signed off by just like what Terry said about it has to be signed off by the estate or the family.
Yes, I totally agree with you, Mike and Terry, on that point. Let me ask you, Mike, about this new album, Escape. We spoke about it a little bit. What's your take on the album and it coming out in the first place?
I think we're always going to have music coming out by Mr. Jackson, and you know, my take on it is that from the response in which I'm getting from the fans that have written to me, they, you know, Mr. Jackson's fans, they love it, you know, and it's good really to hear, you know, even in the commercial, you know,
the Jeep commercial.
Yeah, you know, and just hearing his voice, you know, and being able to hear that in, you know, that spirit again, to me, it's, you know, it's really refreshing. So, you know, I didn't travel with Mr. Jackson at the time where he did any shows. I'm not sure if Terry did, but you know, it's just really nice just to hear his voice and just be, you know, enlightened by it. So as far as like the album coming out and music, you know, I'm all for it, and you know, according to the fans, you know, they love it as well.
There's a few that rather have just the originals because. And there's a few that say, we don't know if Mike would want that out. What do you say about that, Mike?
You know, and then that comes to like kind of like what I was talking about as far as legacy. You know, everything. The guy was, you know, anybody trying to imitate his style or anything like that, and you know, at the end of the day, the fans are going to tell the difference. You know, if like we said, the estate and also, you know, the children, you know, signed off on it, then I hope, you know, it goes to the best, you know, I hope the best for it. But if not, then, you know, it's just another, you know, somebody trying to, you know, ride his coattails again, or, you know, trying to do something, you know, to make a profit or whatnot. But overall, like I said, it's just really good to hear his voice.
Terry, I want to go to you on this. The Escape album, it was at #1 in the beginning. It's doing well. He's gone. He's not here to say, you know what? I didn't want this to come out. Is it a good thing, bad thing? What's your take on new Michael Jackson material coming out?
Well, I don't know the process. I mean, obviously, it's his voice. I don't think anybody could mimic him that well. And I am such a fan, man. I love to hear his stuff come out, and I think it's awesome. Like I said, if it doesn't impact the kids, and that is their father, and they have to continue to live, and if it's generating income for them as well, I think that it should be a green light to do it. The fans want to hear his music, I would assume. I know I'm a fan, and I haven't heard the whole album, but the couple of songs that I heard, those are awesome songs, man. And
I love Good is really the one, the commercial that Mike was talking about before. Love Never Felt So Good is an awesome song.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. You know, it's like why should something sit up in some kind of archive and just wither away? And then not only that, it gets back to the people that tried to destroy Michael Jackson. It ain't gonna happen. He's gonna be more famous now than he is, and I hope the music continues if, you know, the family signs off on it, and when I say that, I'm talking specifically, you know, Paris, Prince, and Blanket. Those are some very intelligent kids. I would sit up and see Prince read books like you would not believe. That kid is brilliant, and like I said, I'm sure he knows finances because I know Michael taught those kids everything. He was an awesome dad. I saw that.
That's right.
And if those children sign off on it, they're at an age now where they know business, and I know Prince does. Harrison Blanket might be still a little young, but those kids are brilliant. And if they sign off on it, and it doesn't impact the grieving process, and it enables them to prolong their dad's legacy, then by all means, what Satan tried to do and destroy him with these idiots of this world, the Diane Diamonds and some of these other people, it didn't happen.
Right.
And it's not going to happen.
Nancy Grace, Stacey Brown, Nancy Grace, Diane Diamond, and Maureen Orff. There's a whole list of them. It was awful. Some of the things that MJ had to go through. It's amazing.
It really was. People don't know what they put that man through. It was so sad to see a man broken that was so powerful and enamored by the world. But if you could see him in the private moments and how, dejected he was at times, and it was only by the grace of God that he survived through that whole period. I believe God put certain people in his life at the time to, get him through that, and I think that I was instrumental in that. It wasn't just the physical. I'm not a big guy like Mike. I'm a little guy, and but the power of God, man. I tell you, I had a higher sword protecting us because I wasn't worried about a thing, and I vowed to him. I told him, and the day I went up to his room and told him that they've got the verdict. That was the most challenging day of my life. It's like, God, you got to help me, because Michael was like not having it, and the emotion and the kids running and screaming. It's like, oh my God! But we dealt with it, and thank God, we prevailed. I told him, I said, man, you trust God. Don't trust nobody else. Trust God. You're gonna be back in your ranch within 2 hours. I guarantee it. And I was just speaking what I believe that God told me, and it worked out. Thank God, man. And he went on and did great things after that.
Were you in the van when it was verdict day, Mike? Kerry?
Oh yeah, he didn't go anywhere without me during that period. Yeah, I was right there with him, and that was a whole other story. I won't go into that. That's gonna be that's some things I'll take to my grave. Some of the moments that to and from the court, and it was just something. On a brighter note, there were some of the people that never got credit, because there was a lot of people, like Madonna alluded to in that statement she read. A lot of people abandoned him, man, but there was a couple of people that, I heard him have some conversations with Celine Dion, Whitney Houston, Damon Wayans, Steve Harvey. Those guys really pumped him up, and I didn't know those are not the biggest celebrities in the world, especially as it relates to Steve Harvey and Damon Wayans. But then those guys really pumped him up a couple of times on the way to court when he was down. And I mean, he was physically, that stuff will impact your body so much, your physical body will break down. Michael was really sick, and he knew that Judge Melville's position was, if you're that sick, then you're going to go to the infirmary, and we'll remand your bail, and you'll stay in custody until the trial is over. Well, it's like, how can you tell a guy not to get sick? See, that's the side that, I'm going to talk about later on, that it was just horrible the way they did this man. It's publicly, they just wanted to humiliate him. And, we're pulling off at the off-ramp, and he's physically sick, but we got to continue, as opposed to going right to the hospital. We got to go to court, because the guy is saying, no, you're not going to, if you're sick, then we're going to, take your bail, and we're going to remand you into custody for the remainder of the trial. Well, we were a month into it then, and it was just terrible. It really was. But like I said, he prevailed. Thank God. That God is merciful, Well,
that must have been some, riding that van that day probably was scary. If you're Michael Jackson and you have your life in the hands of 12 jurors that might not, see the truth for what it is.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be in that position. I really wouldn't. I know, I can imagine. I heard a documentary the other day how he said he couldn't get sleep. He would wake up in just horrific nightmares just thinking about being convicted, going to jail. And,
I think anybody would. So it's a really tough spot to be in.
It is.